Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a really interesting topic from the world of engine technology, something that's in every modern car but often overlooked: the fuel injectors. A lot of people have heard the term, especially when it comes to diesel engines, but very few actually know how complex these little parts are, or what happens when they don't work properly. In this video, we're going to look at how injectors work, why they're so important, what common problems they have, how to diagnose them, and of course, how to make them last longer. So stay tuned until the end, whether you're just curious, want to understand your car better, or work on engines yourself. This one's going to be really interesting. Let's get started. The injector is basically the component that delivers fuel into the combustion chamber, right where it mixes with air and gets burned. Without injectors, no modern engine would run, whether it's a diesel or a gasoline engine. But what many people don't realize is just how precise this technology is. A modern injector works with pressures of up to 2,500 bar or even more. To give you an idea, that's roughly 1,000 times the pressure in your car tires. These massive pressures are needed to atomize the fuel into an extremely fine mist. The finer the spray, the better it mixes with air, and the cleaner and more efficient the combustion process becomes. That's especially important in diesel engines because diesel doesn't evaporate like gasoline. It's injected directly and ignited by the heat of compressed air. There are different types of injectors. In older diesel engines, there were pre-chamber or swirl chamber designs, where the injection was still quite simple. Later, direct injection became standard, and today almost every modern diesel engine uses a common rail system. In a common rail system, the fuel isn't sent directly from the pump to each injector. Instead, it's stored under constant high pressure in a shared rail. Hence the name common rail. Each injector takes exactly the amount of fuel it needs from this rail, precisely controlled by the engine management system. That setup has many advantages. Injection timing and fuel quantity can be controlled very accurately, which means smoother engine operation, lower fuel consumption, and cleaner emissions. Gasoline engines use a similar concept today, direct injection, where the fuel is sprayed straight into the combustion chamber instead of through the intake manifold like older systems used to do. Now let's take a closer look at how an injector actually works. A modern common rail injector consists of a body, a nozzle, a needle, and a solenoid valve or piezo element that moves the needle. When the ECU engine control unit sends the signal, the injector opens for just a fraction of a millisecond, so fast you can hardly imagine it. During a single combustion cycle, the engine might inject fuel several times. A pre-injection, a main injection, and sometimes even a post-injection to reduce emissions or help regenerate the particulate filter. And all of this happens in milliseconds, precisely thousands of times per minute in every single cylinder. Of course, that kind of precision also means injectors have to work under incredibly clean and exact conditions, and that's where problems usually start. Even the tiniest contamination, deposits or wear can cause serious issues. If the injector needle doesn't seal properly, fuel can drip continuously into the cylinder. That makes the engine run rough, injects too much diesel, or even damages the piston, because the excess fuel washes oil off the cylinder walls and thins out the engine oil. Another common issue is a leaking return line. In that case, the injector can't maintain pressure, causing hard or failed starts. This is a classic symptom on many common rail diesels. You crank the engine for a long time in the morning before it finally fires up, and often it's because the injectors are leaking back too much fuel. But there are more signs of injector trouble: rough idle, knocking or ticking noises, black or white smoke from the exhaust, loss of power, or higher fuel consumption. Some drivers also notice a strong fuel smell or see that the oil level is rising, a clear sign of diesel leaking into the engine oil. Modern vehicles can sometimes detect bad injectors through the fault memory, but not always. Many problems only show up under specific conditions, which is why mechanics often use a return flow test. That test measures how much fuel each injector sends back, and if one of them returns significantly more than the others, it's usually the faulty one. So why do injectors fail in the first place? There are several reasons. The most obvious is wear and tear. Injectors perform millions of cycles over their lifetime, but other causes include dirty or contaminated fuel, water in the diesel, or low-quality fuel. Even microscopic dirt particles can damage the sensitive nozzle tips. Sometimes poor installation or lack of cleanliness during maintenance can also ruin them. And then there are leaking copper seals, especially on diesels. When those seals start leaking, exhaust gases escape past the injector, making a whistling or puffing noise. You might even see soot build up around the injector. That's what mechanics call a blow-by or injector leak. That shouldn't be ignored because the copper washer can burn into the cylinder head and make the injector almost impossible to remove later. Cleaning or rebuilding injectors is possible in many cases, but it depends on the type. Solenoid injectors can usually be cleaned or overhauled, while piezo injectors often can't be repaired because of their delicate internal calibration. In professional workshops, injectors are tested on a bench tester, where the spray pattern, injection quantity, and sealing are measured under various pressures. Refurbishing a diesel injector can cost anywhere between $150 and $400 each, while brand new ones can range from $400 to $1,000 per injector, depending on the vehicle. If you ever remove injectors yourself, cleanliness is everything. No dust, no sand, no debris, nothing is allowed near the openings. Always replace the seals and clean the seat in the cylinder head thoroughly before reinstalling. What many people don't realize is that software also plays a big role in modern injectors. After replacement, the new injector usually needs to be coded or calibrated in the ECU. Each injector has an individual correction value that tells the ECU how much fuel it delivers at a given signal. Without this coding, the engine might run rough or be hard to start. Gasoline direct injection engines have similar issues, mainly with carbon buildup on the nozzles or intake valves. Sometimes a professional cleaning with special additives or ultrasonic equipment can fix that. To sum it up, fuel injectors are one of the most important, yet most delicate components in any modern engine. They determine performance, fuel economy, smoothness, and emissions. When they work perfectly, the engine runs clean, efficient, and powerful. But when they start to fail, it can get expensive fast, even leading to serious engine damage. If you want to keep your injectors healthy, use high-quality fuel, change your fuel filter regularly, and consider using additives occasionally to keep the system clean. And if your engine starts running rough, smells strange, or uses more fuel, have the injectors tested before replacing expensive parts unnecessarily. So that's a deep dive into the world of fuel injectors. Now you know how they work, why they matter so much, the typical failure symptoms, and what you can do to maintain them. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment if you've ever had injector problems yourself, and subscribe to the channel for more car tech videos like this one.